Are you following the Papa John's story? Because holy shit, this is insane. It's a conspiracy now, and I'm not kidding, this story's absolutely gone off the rails. Okay, if you haven't followed, basically John Schnatter, the CEO of Papa John's, apparently on a phone call with a marketing agency called Laundry Service, he referenced the N-word. He said the N-word when he was talking about other people being racist, and according to Forbes, who ran the story, he was trying to convey his antipathy to racism. That basically means John Schnatter does not like racism. He was critical of it. He cited some examples. Apparently, the company then went to the press a couple months later, because apparently this happened in May. So they went to the press recently, told them what happened. Schnatter confirmed that he did say the N-word when referring to racists, and because of that, he had to resign. His name has been removed from, field houses and stadiums. It's getting crazier. Now he's being kicked out of his office. The guy still apparently owns 30% of Papa John's, of their shares. But now he's being removed from marketing. He's being removed from just promotional materials and not getting kicked out of his office. But I mentioned a conspiracy because apparently he's claiming he was being extorted. I'm not kidding. So first, here's what happened. I saw this story. Exclusive interview, John Schnatter apologizes for his comments. This is from 3 days ago. And apparently I missed this, or maybe I didn't cover it when this came about, because I think it was a few days ago I made a video about this. But apparently, in an interview, he said they were extorting him and they refused to back down. Now, it's only lightly mentioned.
Schnatter says.
Weird autoplay. It's only lightly mentioned in this, but it says.
He found out about it.
Oh my God, stop playing. They tried to extort us, and we held firm, and they took what I said and ran to Forbes. Forbes printed it, and it went viral, Schnatter said of the media agency. When I first read that quote, I couldn't believe it. Seriously? An ad agency was extorting Papa John's because they were going to claim he said a bad word? If that were the case, I could extort anybody by just being like, I'm going to claim you swore or said a racial slur. I mean, there's not even any audio of the call. But here's what I started thinking. According to their story, at least there's more, just wait. According to this, they were extorting him, trying to get something out of him, and then went to Forbes. When I first read it, I thought, it's crazy, but then started thinking, why did it take so long for them to go to Forbes? Why didn't the ad agency just come out immediately and be like, look, he said this on the call, there were other people on the call, we do not appreciate it, we do not want to be affiliated with it. Instead, they waited until, 2 months later? And then Forbes printed the story? And also, why did Forbes print the story? Like, who at Forbes was like, did you hear that the CEO on a business meeting said the N-word in a descriptive way? Wow, that's a huge story, we should run it. Seems very strange. And apparently, there's more. So there's this story from CNBC. This is from about an hour ago. Okay, so this is getting crazier. This is the Papa John's conspiracy. Papa John's founder says media agency tried to extort $6 million to keep N-word call quiet. Seriously. Holy shit. Okay, they start with a bit of editorialization. It's now clear why Papa John's board of directors asked former chairman John Schnatter to stop talking to the press. Schnatter, in an interview Friday with a Louisville, Kentucky CBS station, accused media agency Laundry Service of trying to blackmail Papa John's for $6 million to keep quiet about a conference call where he used the N-word. He also told the TV station he was provoked into using that language and accused Louisville, Kentucky officials who removed the company's name from a local gym of cracking. I think that's the Fieldhouse reference. Schnatter told Kentucky CBS affiliate that an executive at Laundry Service threatened Papa John's, "If I don't get my effing money, I'm going to bury the founder." The Louisville, Kentucky pizza chain issued a press release at 11:46 p.m. saying Schnatter was prohibited from talking to the press or making any further statements to the media regarding the company, its business, or its employees. Now, I don't know what agreement they have or contract that's going to stop Schnatter from being allowed to speak. But if he does own 30% of shares, he is now the former face of the company, these kinds of statements are going to cause a stock drop-off. He's going to cost everybody a ton of money. This is getting really crazy because now we're venturing off into conspiracy territory. That in this 2-month period after the call, Papa John's is alleging this guy was demanding, what is it, $6 million? Yes, $6 million, Papa John's for $6 million to keep quiet about it. The board of directors also said they decided to remove him from the pizza chain's advertising materials, revoke his office space at the company's headquarters. Schnatter was removed as chairman of the board last week after Forbes reported his comments on the call. Last week. There it is. It was a week ago Forbes reported on his comments. John Schnatter wasn't saying anything racist. He was condemning. Even Forbes said he was conveying his antipathy to racism. Why did this story come out 2 months later? It's almost like it's plausible that he was on a call, they heard him say it, and then there was some back and forth conversation where 2 months later decided to go to the press. Now, let me be clear. I'm not going to take Schnatter's word for it. But what we have here is a he said, she said. I think most people would err on the side of it's probably not true. This is a disgraced former, CEO, then former chairman, and he's making these claims. Obviously, he's trying to save face. And I would agree with that, except for the fact that he didn't do anything wrong in the first place. Right? John Schnatter didn't go on the phone and start calling people the N-word. He was complaining about other people, Colonel Sanders using the N-word, and complaining about other instances of racism. The phone call was their attempt to distance themselves from racism. And it's so strange then that Forbes printed this story. The other thing too is it's not the only time this has happened. I believe it was Gawker that there was some executive who was threatened by, it was like a guy on a gay dating app, threatened to go public that this executive was gay. And Gawker apparently ran the story. I don't know the full details, but the stories like this have come out before that people have threatened to use the press in extortion campaigns, I guess. Look, I'm not going to tell you whether or not you should believe this. I just think we've officially gone crazy. Look, we're at a point where the Netflix guy who said the N-word because he said this is an offensive word and explained what it was, loses his job. Now John Schnatter, who is critical of other people using the word, loses his job because of it. And now after this, it's gone even crazier to where John Schnatter is accusing a company of conspiring against them, of it being an extortion tactic or something, and then them running to the press. And now you've got Papa John saying he's not allowed to talk to the press. This is just typically getting crazy. But I gotta say, as crazy as it is, at least, it's rather interesting. What if it turns out to be true? That's the thing. I'm not going to investigate this. I really doubt there's going to be any evidence of it coming forward. I'm not one to believe in conspiracies, but in this instance, it's very interesting to say the least. I would just say that I think it's possible. It's totally plausible. I would never tell anyone what to believe or to believe it, but it's definitely interesting to hear. And as much as I won't say it is true, I definitely won't say it's not true. We don't have the evidence. So that is one of the problems with accusations. We can't prove a negative. So whether or not this happened, I think it's up to Papa John's to prove they were extorting him as opposed to just say it. He said, "They tried to extort us and we held firm, and they took what I said and ran to Forbes. Forbes printed it, went viral. The conference call in May came to light after Forbes magazine detailed the incident in an article Wednesday. The report, which was later confirmed by Schnatter, said he was on a call with marketing agency Laundry Service when he tried to downplay comments he made about the NFL, saying Colonel Sanders called blacks the N-word and never faced any public backlash. He said, while he apologized for using the racially charged slur, he didn't use the slur. He was criticizing somebody else for saying it, and also, it would appear, being critical of the public for letting him get away with it. Schnatter told the TV station he was baited into using the language. I was just repeating what somebody else said. I was actually kind of provoked, he said, of what was supposed to be a confidential media training session. They were promoting that kind of vocabulary, and they kept hitting it, and I was like, no, we're not going to do that. That's not what we're about. Schnatter said the other party on the call, which he didn't identify, repeatedly used the word. By the fourth or fifth pass, I just said, no, we're not going to be part of any such thing. So-and-so used the N-word, and we don't use the N-word, and we're not going to use the N-word, and that's it. Neither Laundry Service or Papa John's immediately responded to CNBC's request for comment. It's ironic. The very thing we were trying to avoid was the very thing that happened. So let's back up. Laundry Service accused Schnatter of saying the N-word, while Schnatter is accusing them right back of saying it. Are we going to see the same backlash now over Laundry Service? Is Laundry Service going to have their person resign? What is it about our current political climate where if you accuse Papa John, it's a scandal, he loses his job, everything's done. He accuses them and no one's talking about it. In fact, It's, you know, the story starts by disparaging him by saying, it's now clear why Papa John's board of directors asked former chairman John Schneider to stop talking to the press. How is it clear? What are you saying? Are you saying that he shouldn't call them out if they were extorting him? Are you implying that he's lying or crazy? What is that you're trying to say? Because we don't have facts to confirm whether or not his story is true or fake. Not only that, he accused the other company of using the same language. So what makes it clear? Is it clear because it's making things more chaotic? I don't know what you're trying to say by that. If it is true that the other company also used the same language, why won't we see the same response? It's almost as if everything's nonsensical. It's not even about the principles. It's about the hot take. It's, okay, we got our hot take on Papa John. He accused them of doing it. Yeah, but that story's old. We don't care anymore. Where are the activists rising up and saying this marketing service, which actually, it probably works with a ton of major companies, openly uses the N-word in phone calls 4 or 5 times, at least according to somebody else who's on that call. Double standard, I'd say. Everybody's upset and they're cracking and they're scared, he said. You know Forbes is going to lie and you know the Courier is going to lie, but you would think there would be something solid in these leaders to really acknowledge and embrace what really went down. I'm going to end with this. It doesn't matter if they extorted him, in my opinion. It doesn't matter if they said the word. It doesn't matter if Schneider said the word. And all of this is insane. Absolutely insane, because even their own story is that Schneider was critical of racism. And even him accusing them, it's the same instance, being critical of racism, using that language in a way to convey why it's bad. In which case, why is any of this happening? I really do feel like things are breaking down, because it's not just this, it's people getting chased out of restaurants. Maybe I'm just young and I don't remember how bad it really was, but it wasn't this bad 10 years ago, and now it's really getting bad, and I feel like the internet is making everyone crazy. I look forward to further developments on the Papa John's conspiracy story. But there you go. There's no real resolution here other than everyone's lost their goddamn minds. If there's an update here, you know, I'll maybe talk about it if it matters. We'll see what happens. But stick around. I'm going to have another video up in just a few minutes. Yeah.